Rosie Huntington Whiteley Harpers Bazaar June issue cover and interview. An extraordinarily successful businesswoman, whose annual earnings of $11.5 million now put her in the top 3 of the world's most highly paid supermodels, Rosie Huntington Whiteley has remained a woman's woman, with the ability to inspire her legions of Instagram followers. She talks to average. Los Angeles is the kind of place that wears you out. It's the first time I met Rosie Huntington Whiteley was in 2011, when she had just moved here to live with the English actor Jason Statham, now her fiancé and 769, and father of their 22 months.
Raindrop, drop top, top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park.